inspirations for this is really even the area that we're in. You know, if you look around, we're at Pier 66, the boatyard at Pier 66, at the kind of intersection of China Basin and Dogpatch, and basically on the east side of San Francisco. And if you kind of look around, there are these remnants of this kind of post-industrial era in San Francisco, all these amazing cranes and kind of port machines that are kind of around us. So our idea about integrating machinic logic or robotic logic into architecture is that the two can begin to kind of coexist. I'm Jason Kelly Johnson.
And Natalie Gattegno.
We are designers, architects, and we're also educators. I think the office is an exciting place to be because we're super experimental. We generally try and make just about everything that we do. So we try and not only design it, but we try and prototype it and then fabricate it. We try and, at least at this point in our practice, we're really interested in seeing projects all the way through. And it makes for a kind of higher quality piece, but we're in a lot more control of what the product is. It's really exciting. So Hydramax is a proposal that we made for the waterfront of San Francisco.
The project emerged as part of a call for the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. And one of the things that we had discussed with them was interest in actually developing an interactive model that was actually at building scale. So a lot of the work that we've done in the past has been interactive, but at the scale of an installation or a kind of gallery surface. So in this case, we're really interested in actually focusing at the building scale and proposing interaction to actually take place at the scale of a building component as opposed to a kind of abstract scaled surface. So in terms of the actual geometry, we were exploring this kind of idea of an extended pier, so taking a street and extending the street out into the water, and as such creating this series of piers that would essentially dot the edge of San Francisco again. These piers are transportation piers, but they're also these kind of fog-catching, food-growing machines that on the one hand channel people in and through and out of them, but then also store water in the upper truss, farm fish in this kind of interior shell, and then also grow vegetables and plants on these kind of exterior surfaces, which become these amazing public parks that thread out into the waters.
Basically what's happening with the model right now is that there's a series of infrared sensors that are networked around the model. And it's essentially sensing our proximity to the model, so our distance from those sensors. So what essentially happens is as I approach the model, it's triggering a series of shape memory alloy motors which are in the base. Those are actually pushing up these scissor trusses, which are sort of elevating these fog feathers. These motors are really special because essentially they're, instead of having a big long string of shape memory alloy, there's a series of these that are set up in parallel with each other. These are by Mega Motors, and they were really fantastic to kind of donate the motors to us and work with us to kind of engineer the model. Some of the things that we were pursuing when we were, at Princeton together. When we were doing our thesis projects, both of us were really interested in exploring these sort of extreme conditions. And, in the case of my thesis project was about kind of a contaminated site. Natalie was looking at a kind of extreme desert condition. And then a lot of the attitudes that we had towards building, towards architecture, towards landscape, towards infrastructure, a lot of the stuff that we set up when we were really, early on, 10, 12 years ago, are things that we're still sort of unpacking and still sort of exploring today. So even in the Hydramax project, a lot of the core issues and things that we were taking on really had their roots, back when we were, 12 years ago or so, when we were studying together and just kind of formulating what we valued.
There's an opportunity in testing things out and actually trying things out that maybe seem unconventional. And in some ways I do feel like our practice sits in that zone where on the one hand we have a hook in reality, but then also we're interested in leveraging that hook to propose things that maybe seem far from the normative right now, but in some ways are grounded in existing practices.